The great hall of the Galactic Council was silent. 847 species had sent their leaders to this place. They sat in rows that went up and up, so high that the ceiling vanished into darkness. Lights of every color blinked and glowed from different sections. Some beings breathed air. Others floated in water tanks. A few existed as pure energy behind special shields. All of them were watching the small group of humans standing at the center of the floor. Ambassador Taiho Kim stood straight and tall. He was 62 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 30 years talking to aliens, learning their languages, understanding their ways. He had believed that one day humans would be accepted as equals. Now he knew that day would never come. High Arbiter Velix moved forward on its 6 legs. The insect-like creature was ancient, over 400 years old. Its shell was dark purple, and its eyes reflected no light. When it spoke, the translator made its voice cold and flat. "The Council has reached a decision," Velix said. "The species known as humanity is found guilty of illegal expansion into the Vega cluster. This territory belongs to the Telvari hegemony. The punishment is immediate and permanent banishment to the Outer Rim." A wave of clicking, buzzing, and humming filled the hall. The aliens were pleased. They had always feared the humans. Too aggressive, too unpredictable, too fast to grow and spread. Now the problem would be solved. Dr. Sora Han stood behind the ambassador. She was a scientist who studied alien minds and cultures. She was 45, small and quiet, but her brain was sharper than any blade. She watched the representatives above them, and she saw something that worried her. Many of them did not look happy. They looked afraid. "The Outer Rim," Ambassador Kim said slowly. "You want us to move 12 billion people to a region of dead stars and empty worlds. A place where nothing grows. A place where pirates and criminals hide. You call this justice?" "It is the will of the Council," Velix replied. "You have 90 standard days to begin the relocation. If you refuse, the combined fleets will enforce the verdict." Ambassador Kim looked at his datapad. A message had arrived from Earth. He read it twice, then put the device away. When he looked up, his face had changed. The tiredness was gone. In its place was something hard and cold. "I have a response from the United Earth's government," he said. His voice was calm, but it carried to every corner of the vast hall. "Earth does not accept this verdict." The silence that followed was complete. No clicking. No buzzing. Nothing. "We will not relocate our people to die in the darkness," Kim continued. "The Vega cluster was empty when we arrived. We built homes there. We raised children there. We will not abandon them because the Telvari suddenly decided they wanted the land." High Arbiter Velix's legs scraped against the floor. "You cannot refuse a council verdict. No species has ever refused. Then we will be the first." On Earth, Admiral Una Park watched the broadcast in her command center. She was 58 years old, a soldier who had fought in 3 wars and won them all. Her hair was white, her face was lined, but her eyes were sharp and alive. Around her, officers waited for orders. "Begin full mobilization," she said quietly. "Wake up the reserve fleets. Activate the defense platforms. Call back every ship within range." "Admiral," a young officer said, "the Council has 200 warships ready to move. We only have 80. Psst. Park smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "They think they know what we have. They are wrong." Back in the council hall, chaos had erupted. Representatives were shouting and arguing. The Telvari delegation was demanding immediate action. The Malorn, a peaceful trading species, were calling for calm. High Arbiter Velix struck the floor with a metal staff, trying to restore order. Ambassador Kim gathered his team. "We are leaving now," he said. "The shuttle is waiting." Dr. Han walked beside him through the corridors. "Taiho," she said quietly, "did you see their faces? Not the Telvari. The others. The smaller species, I saw, they were scared. Not of us, of something else. I think this is about more than the Vega cluster." Kim nodded slowly. "I think you were right. But right now, it does not matter why they want us gone. What matters is that we have just started a war." Their shuttle lifted off from the station. Through the windows, they could see the massive structure shrinking behind them. Thousands of ships floated around it, representing hundreds of worlds. Soon, many of those ships would come to destroy Earth. Dr. Han pulled up data on her screen. She began searching through old records, looking for anything that might explain what she had seen. The fear in those alien eyes was real, deep and old, like they remembered something terrible that humans did not know about. "We will need allies," she said. "We cannot fight the entire galaxy alone." "We may have to," Kim replied. "But humans have done impossible things before. We survived ice ages. We survived plagues. We survived ourselves. We will survive this too." The shuttle jumped too faster than light speed, leaving the council station behind. Somewhere ahead, Earth waited. 12 billion people who did not yet know that their lives had changed forever. Admiral Park was preparing for battle. Factories were starting to run day and night. Young men and women were signing up to fight. Humanity had refused to be thrown away, and that refusal would shake the foundations of everything the galaxy had built over 10,000 years. The war had begun. 2 weeks passed since the refusal. The galaxy held its breath. Captain Jiwoo Lee stood on the bridge of the destroyer ESS Defiant. She was 34 years old, with short black hair and steady hands. She had joined the fleet at 18 and had never looked back. The ship around her hummed with power, waiting for orders. "Captain," her weapons officer said. Lieutenant Min Ho Beek was tall and serious, a man who thought carefully before he spoke. "Long-range sensors are picking up the blockade fleet. 200 ships. They are spreading out across our main trade routes," Lee nodded. The council had moved faster than expected. Fleet Admiral Verozes, a reptilian commander known for his skill, was leading the operation. He believed the humans would see the massive force and surrender. He believed wrong. "Open a channel to Admiral Park," Lee said. The Admiral's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but focused. Behind her, the command center on Earth was busy with activity. "Captain Lee," Park said, "I have a mission for you. The enemy fleet needs supplies. Their supply convoy is moving through the Kepler Passage in 6 hours. 40 transport ships. Minimal escort. You want us to hit them? I want you to hurt them. Show them that blocking our trade routes has a cost. Make them understand that this war will not be easy." Lee looked at her crew. They were young, most of them. Some had never seen real combat, but their eyes were determined. "They were ready," understood Admiral. "We will make them bleed." The channel closed. Lee turned to her bridge crew. "Set course for the Kepler Passage. Silent running. No emissions. We go in quiet, hit hard, and disappear before they know what happened." The Defiant was not alone. 5 other destroyers joined her, small and fast ships that could strike and vanish. They moved through space like shadows, using techniques the aliens had never seen. Electronic warfare systems scrambled enemy sensors. Jamming devices blocked communications. The humans had spent decades preparing for this day, studying alien technology and finding its weaknesses. Lieutenant Beek worked at his station preparing the weapons. His hands were steady, but his mind was troubled. "Captain," he said quietly, "those supply ships will have crews. Living beings. Maybe some of them do not even want this war." Lee looked at him. "I know. War is ugly, Minho, but they came to starve our people. Our children? Our families. If we do not fight, we die slowly in the outer rim. At least this way we have a chance." Deke nodded slowly. He understood. He did not like it, but he understood. The convoy appeared on their sensors 6 hours later. 40 fat transport ships loaded with food, fuel, and ammunition. Only 10 warships protected them. The aliens were confident. They did not expect an attack so soon. They did not expect humans to be so bold. "All ships," Lee said over the tactical channel, "weapons free. Priority targets are the transports. Ignore the escorts unless they get in your way." The human destroyers burst from hiding like wolves among sheep. Missiles flew through the darkness. Energy beams cut through metal. The first transport exploded before the escorts even understood what was happening. The battle lasted 12 minutes. 30 transport ships were destroyed. The others fled in panic. 3 escort ships were crippled. The human force lost 1 destroyer, its crew ejecting in escape pods before the end. Fleet Admiral Vorozes received the report in silence. His scales had turned pale, a sign of shock in his species. He had expected the humans to cower. Instead, they had struck first, struck hard, and vanished into the void. "Request reinforcements from the Council," he ordered. "These creatures are more dangerous than we thought." But the Council was slow to respond. Many species had not believed humans would actually fight. They had expected a quick surrender. Now, they were confused and uncertain. On Earth, Ambassador Kim broadcast a message across all frequencies. His voice was calm and clear. "We did not ask for this war. We asked only to be treated as equals. Every ship you send against us is a choice. Every life lost is a decision you made. We will defend ourselves. We will protect our people. And we will not stop until you give us the respect we deserve. Choose wisely." Dr. Sora Han watched the message go out from her office, but she was not celebrating. She had found something in the old records. Something that changed everything. She had intercepted secret communications between Council species. The Telvari had been talking to other powerful members for years. The territorial dispute was fake. The Vega cluster was just an excuse. The Telvari did not want humanity banished. They wanted humanity dead, Taihoshi said when the ambassador returned. "We need to talk. This war is not what we think it is." She showed him the evidence. The Telvari had manufactured the crisis. They had pressured other species to support the banishment. They had planned this for decades. "But why?" Kim asked. "What did we do to them?" "We barely interacted with the Telvari before the Vega issue." "I do not know yet," Han admitted. "But there is something they fear about us. Something deep. This is not about territory or politics. This is about survival. They think we are a threat to their existence." Kim sat down heavily. The war had just gotten much more complicated. They were not fighting for a fair place in the galaxy. They were fighting against an enemy who would not stop until every human was gone. "We need to find out the truth," he said finally. "Whatever they are hiding, it is the key to everything." Outside, the stars burned cold and distant. Somewhere out there, fleets were gathering. The real war was about to begin. 3 months into the war, cracks began to appear, not in the human defense. In the Council itself, Counselor Thrix floated in her water tank, watching the latest reports. She was a Maulern, a species that lived in the oceans of their homeworld. They were traders, not warriors. They had joined the Council for protection and prosperity, not for war. The numbers on her screen were troubling. The humans had won 7 major battles. They had lost 5. But the way they fought was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. They used tricks and traps. They attacked supply lines. They disappeared and reappeared where no one expected. Their ships were smaller, but their tactics were brilliant. The Battle of Nexus Station had been the worst shock. The station controlled jump routes to 12 star systems. The combined fleet had stationed 50 warships there. The humans attacked with only 30. By the end, the station belonged to humanity. And 23 alien warships floated dead in space. Admiral Unipark had led that battle herself. Military experts across the galaxy studied the recordings. They could not understand how she had done it. Her ships moved together like parts of a single mind. They predicted enemy movements before they happened. They exploited weaknesses that no one else could see. On Earth, General Hyunwoo-shin walked through a hospital ship. He was 60 years old, a ground forces commander who had spent his life preparing soldiers for battles that he hoped would never come. Now those battles were real, and the cost was visible in every bed. Young men and women lay wounded. Some would recover, some would not. Shin stopped at each bed, speaking quietly, thanking them for their sacrifice. His heart was heavy, but he did not let it show. Minister Yoonji Cho met him at the exit. She was in charge of war production, a brilliant organizer who had turned Earth's economy into a weapon. Factories ran day and night. New ships launched every week, but her face showed the strain. "We are pushing too hard," she said quietly. "Resources are running low. The outer colonies are reporting shortages. Food, medicine, basic supplies. We cannot keep this pace forever." "How long?" Shin asked. "If the war continues at this level, maybe a year. After that, our production will start to fail. We will run out of materials, workers, everything." Shin looked out at the stars. "Then we need to end this war before that happens." One way or another, Captain Ji Woo Lee had become famous. The raid on the supply convoy was just the beginning. She had led 12 successful missions, each one more daring than the last. They called her the Ghost of Seoul, because her ship appeared from nowhere, struck, and vanished. But fame did not protect her. From the truth of war, she visited the same hospital ship that Shin had walked through. Her crew had taken losses. Good people, friends. She stood at the observation window staring at nothing when Lieutenant Beak found her. "Captain," he said softly, "you should rest." "How can I rest?" she asked. "Every time I close my eyes, I see their faces. The ones we lost. The ones we killed." Beak stood beside her. "We did not start this. The Council decided to destroy us. We are just trying to survive." "I know." "But knowing does not make it easier." "Oh," he agreed. "It does not. But we are the only ones who can end it. If we stop fighting, everything we have lost means nothing." Lee turned to look at him. He was a good man, honest and brave, the kind of person humanity needed if it was going to survive. "You are right," she said finally. "We keep fighting. Until we win, or until we cannot fight anymore." Far from the front lines, Dr. Sorahan met with Counselor Thrix in secret. The meeting place was a small space station in neutral territory. Both of them had taken great risks to be there. "I have evidence," Han said, sliding a data chip across the table. "The Telvari planned this war. They created the territorial dispute. They pressured other species to support the banishment. This was never about justice. It was always about destroying humanity." Thrix examined the data. Her tentacles moved slowly, a sign of deep thought. "This is dangerous information. If the Telvar learn that you have this, they will kill you." "I know. But I need allies. Someone who can confirm this truth to the galaxy." "Why come to me?" "Because your people are traitors, not conquerors. Because you have always been fair. Because I saw the doubt in your eyes when the verdict was announced." Thrix was silent for a long moment. "The Telvari have spies everywhere. If I speak against them publicly, my people will suffer." "I understand. I am not asking you to act now. Just to be ready. When the time comes, the galaxy will need voices of truth. Will you be one of them?" The Maulern looked at the human woman. Such a strange species. So young, so fierce, so full of hope even in the darkest times. "When the time comes," Thrix said slowly, "I will do what is right." Han smiled. It was a small victory, but in war, small victories added up. Back on Earth, Ambassador Kim received an encrypted message. It came from an unknown source, using codes that should have been impossible to break. The message contained coordinates in deep space and a single sentence: the truth about humanity's origins. "Come alone." Kim stared at the words. It could be a trap. It probably was a trap. But if there was any chance of finding answers, he had to take it. The war was entering a new phase. The galaxy was breaking apart. And somewhere in the darkness, secrets waited to be revealed. Ambassador Taiho Kim traveled to the coordinates with a small escort. Commodore Doyon Kong commanded the 3 ships that protected him. She was a veteran of covert operations, a woman who had spent her career in shadows. If anyone could keep the ambassador safe, it was her. The journey took them to a nebula far from any known trade routes. Purple and gold clouds of gas stretched across space, hiding whatever lay within. Normal sensors could not penetrate the thick particles. "I do not like this," Kong said over the communication channel. "Perfect place for an ambush." I agree, Kim replied. But we need answers. Stay alert and be ready to run if necessary. They found the station deep inside the nebula. It was old, incredibly old. The design was nothing like anything humans or the council species used. Smooth curves and strange angles that hurt the eyes if you looked too long. It hung in the darkness like a forgotten dream. That station is millions of years old, the science officer reported. Maybe older. The materials are beyond anything we have ever seen. Kim took a shuttle across alone as the message had requested. The docking bay opened for him automatically. Inside, lights activated as he walked, guiding him deeper into the ancient structure. He entered a vast chamber. In the center, a column of light pulsed gently. A voice spoke from everywhere and nowhere. Welcome, child of Earth. I am the Keeper. I have waited a very long time for you. Kim looked around. Who are you? What is this place? I am what remains of the precursors. My creators built this station millions of years ago. They built the first civilizations in this galaxy. They made the stars safe for life. And then they left, leaving me to guard their secrets. Why did you bring me here? Because you deserve to know the truth about what you are. The light changed. Images appeared in the air around Kim. He saw ancient beings, tall and graceful, working with tools of pure energy. He saw them seeding planets with life. He saw them watching young species grow and evolve. The precursors watched many species rise. The Keeper continued. Most grew comfortable. They stopped questioning. They stopped reaching. The council was formed by these species to maintain order and prevent change. But the precursors knew that without change, there is only slow death.
Ouch.
Kim's heart was beating fast. What does this have to do with humanity? Humans were created as a fail-safe. Your ancestors were not an accident. They were designed, aggressive enough to fight when necessary, creative enough to solve impossible problems, adaptable enough to survive anywhere. You were meant to challenge the order that was holding the galaxy back. Kim staggered. He grabbed a nearby pillar for support. We were designed? Yes, and some species discovered this truth long ago. The Telvari found records of the precursors centuries before humans reached the stars. They understood what humans would become. They feared it. They have been working to destroy you ever since. Everything made sense now. The manufactured crisis. The rush to banishment. The refusal to negotiate. The Telvari were not fighting over territory. They were trying to stop something they believed would end their way of life. Why tell me this now? Kim asked. Because the time has come. The war you are fighting will decide the future of this galaxy. If you lose, stagnation will continue for another 1,000,000 years. If you win, everything changes. I am giving you the weapon you need to survive. Keeper transferred data to Kim's device. Records, proof, everything. Needed to show the galaxy that the Telvari had lied. Kim returned to his shuttle in a daze. As he flew back to the escort ships, his mind was racing. How do you tell 12 billion people that they were created as weapons? How do you use this knowledge without causing more fear? Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Fleet Admiral Vorosis was making a dangerous choice. He had seen too much. The humans fought with honor. They did not attack civilians. They released prisoners. They offered peace at every opportunity. And yet the Telvari demanded their complete destruction. Vorosis opened a secret channel too. Admiral Park. His scales were pale with fear, but his voice was steady. Admiral Park, he said, I believe we have been deceived. I want to propose a ceasefire. But the Telvari had spies everywhere. Within an hour, Vorosis was arrested. The Telvari commanders seized control of the combined fleet. They accused him of treason and sent a message to all forces. The final offensive begins in 3 days. All ships will move toward the Sol system. We will end this war by destroying Earth. When Kim returned to Earth with the Keeper's evidence, he found a war council in session. Dr. Han and Admiral Park were there. Along with General Shin and Minister Cho, the mood was grim. "They're coming for Earth," Park said. "Every ship they have. We are outnumbered 3-1. Kim shared what he had learned. The room fell silent as they absorbed the truth. "We cannot just broadcast this," Han said finally. "Half the galaxy will think it is propaganda. We need allies who will confirm it." "Counselor Thrix," Kim said. She promised to speak the truth when the time came. This is the time. Park stood and walked to the window. Outside, Earth turned slowly, blue and green and beautiful. 12 billion lives depending on what they did next. "Then we give them a reason to listen," she said. "We fight the battle of our lives. And when the galaxy is watching, we show them the truth." She smiled grimly. "They are so focused on killing us, they do not see what is coming." The final battle was approaching. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The sky above Earth filled with fire. 500 warships emerged from faster than light. Travel at the edge of the Sol system. It was the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. The Telvari had called in every favor, threatened every ally, and stripped every outpost. This was their final answer to the problem of humanity. Admiral Una Park watched the sensor displays with calm eyes. She had known this day would come. She had prepared for it. "All ships, this is Admiral Park," she said over the fleet channel. "Today we defend our home. Today we fight for our children and their children. The enemy believes we are weak. Show them how wrong they are." The human fleet numbered 120 ships, far fewer than the enemy. But they held the home ground. They knew every asteroid, every moon, every gravity well in the system. And they had secrets. Captain Ji Woo Lee commanded the forward defense line from the bridge of the Defiant. Her ship had been repaired and upgraded after months of combat. Lieutenant Beak stood at his station, hands ready over the weapons controls. "Here they come," he said quietly. The enemy fleet advanced in waves. The first wave hit the outer defenses like a hammer. Explosions bloomed across space. Ships died on both sides. The humans gave ground slowly, making the enemy pay for every kilometer. On the Telvari flagship, the commanders watched with satisfaction. The humans were falling back. Victory was near. Then Dr. Sora Han began her broadcast. Her signal went out on every frequency, cutting through battle communications and reaching ships across the entire system. It also reached the Council Station, where representatives of every species watched the battle unfold. "To all beings in this galaxy," Han said, her voice clear and strong, "I am Dr. Sora Han of Earth. What I am about to show you will change everything you believe about this war." She transmitted the Keeper's data, records from before the Council existed, proof that the Telvari had found this information centuries ago, evidence of their conspiracy to destroy humanity before humans could threaten their power across the galaxy. Beings of every species watched in shock. Counselor Thrix rose in the council chamber. Her voice shook with emotion, but she spoke clearly. I have examined this data. It is authentic. The Telvari have lied to us all. They used this council to wage a war of extinction against an innocent species. I withdraw the Maulern from the combined fleet immediately." Other species followed. The Brelox, the Zenthari. The Kel, one by one, they pulled their ships back from the battle. The great fleet began to fracture. In a prison cell on a Telvari ship, Fleet Admiral Voroses heard the broadcast. His loyal officers overpowered the guards and freed him. Within minutes, he was on the bridge of his personal cruiser broadcasting to the ships that had served under him. "This war was built on lies," he declared. "I will not fight for liars. All ships loyal to honor, follow me." 40 ships turned their weapons on the Telvari. The enemy fleet was suddenly fighting itself. Admiral Park saw the chaos and struck. "All ships, full attack. Target the Telvari core fleet. Ignore the others." The human fleet surged forward. At the same moment, hidden platforms across the system activated. Weapon systems that humanity had built in secret for decades. Missiles and energy beams erupted from asteroids, from moons, from places the enemy had never suspected. The Telvari commanders realized too late that they had been trapped. Surrounded by former allies who now attacked them, caught in a crossfire of hidden weapons, their great fleet began to die. But they had one last option: the Telvari. Flagship and 50 remaining loyal ships broke from the battle. They accelerated toward Earth itself, weapons charging for a final strike. If they could not conquer humanity, they would destroy its homeworld. Captain Lee saw them coming. They are making a run at Earth. We have to stop them. The Defiant led a desperate charge. Human ships threw themselves into the path of the enemy, buying time with their lives. The battle became a brutal close-range fight. Ships ramming ships. Weapons firing at point-blank range. Lee's ship took heavy damage. Fires burned on 3 decks. Life support was failing, but she kept fighting, driving her wounded ship toward the Telvari flagship. "Minho," she said, "I need one more shot." "Can you do it?" Lieutenant Beak's hands moved across his console. Blood ran down his face from a wound, but his eyes were focused. "Weapons are barely functional. Yes. One shot." The Defiant closed to suicide range. The Telvari flagship loomed ahead, its weapons powering up for the strike that would burn Earth. "Fire," Lee said. The shot hit the flagship's reactor core. The massive ship broke apart in a flower of light. The Telvari command structure died in that moment. Without their leaders, the remaining enemy ships surrendered or fled. The Battle of Seoul was over. In the days that followed, the galaxy changed forever. The Telvari hegemony was dissolved. Their leaders were put on trial for crimes against sentient beings. The species they had bullied and controlled began to speak freely for the first time in centuries. The Council reformed. New rules were written, and humanity was offered something no one had expected: a founding seat on the new council, equal to the oldest species in the galaxy. Ambassador. Taiho Kim addressed the reformed council in the same chamber where the verdict had been delivered. But now, the mood was different. Representatives listened with respect, not contempt. "You tried to break us because you feared what we might become," Kim said. "You were right to fear, but not because we would destroy you. Because we would refuse to let you stagnate. The galaxy needs change. It needs those who refuse to accept injustice. It needs those who push forward when others stand still. It needs humanity." Admiral Park retired to Earth, finally at peace. She spent her remaining years teaching young officers the lessons of the war. Captain Lee, now Admiral Lee, took command of the new joint fleet. Where humans and aliens served side by side, Dr. Han became the first human ambassador to the Reformed Council. Working to build bridges that would last for generations, General Shin stood on a hill overlooking the city where he had grown up. The war had changed him, as it had changed everyone. But the sun still rose, children still laughed, and life continued. Minister Cho joined him. Together, they watched the stars appear as darkness fell. "Was it worth it?" she asked. He thought about the question. The lives lost. The pain endured. The moments of fear, when it seemed like everything would end. "They told us to disappear," he said finally. "To accept our fate, to die quietly in the darkness. We refused, and that refusal changed everything." Above them, human ships patrolled alongside former enemies, now allies. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not break. And when pushed to the edge, humanity pushes back.